Gritty half mile. Toledo tests not only a driver's skill, but also their patience. Veterans Ken Schrader and Frank Kimmel know this track inside and out. But the young talent isn't about to let a little thing like experience get in their way. The ARCA Re Series mixes it up right now on Speed. Welcome to Toledo Speedway for today's ARCA Re Series Hantz Group 200. Hello everyone, I'm Rick Allen alongside of Dan Pardis. We're here in the grandstands at Toledo Speedway with the fans who are expecting to see a great race. And those of you at home, you're also going to see a great race, right Dan?
It is. Toledo, just a great racetrack. Short track racing. This is where it all started. This track, you got to carry momentum through the corner. You got to get down hard on the brakes, but back off of them quick to keep it rolling through the center. A lot of bumping and banging. This race gets real exciting towards the end, so we're going to see a great race here today at Toledo.
A lot of fun in the ARCA Re Series when we visit these short tracks. Now, we started off the season with two big races at Daytona and Nashville, and then we took a short break where we weren't on speed, but we're going to take you and give you a look back at those three races. And we get you up to speed. At Salem, 18-year-old Brad Coleman claimed his first ARCA pole in just his second series start. Coleman led early, but an accident ended his day. Closing laps of the race, Billy Venerini leading in the 25, tries to get around the 55, gets squeezed, allows Ken Schrader to close. Venerini held on though for his first ever ARCA win. Winchester was May 7th. Another rookie, Brett Rowe, led from his first career pole, but it would be Justin Allgaier who'd take the lead heading into turn 2. 5 laps to go. Allgaier on the inside gets together with Rowe. Both go spinning. That sets up a last lap duel between Frank Kimmel and T.J. Bell. Bell gets pushed wide and Kimmel takes win number 1 of the season. On to Kentucky. Last week, rain delayed the start of the Kentucky race. Steve Wallace set a new track record in claiming the pole. Frank Kimmel challenged Wallace for the lead, but Frank's day would end early. At the end, Wallace would be pressured by Bruco Motorsports development driver Brad Coleman, but Steven would hold on to take his second ARCA win of the season. And check out this burnout. That is impressive. And we look at the Remax point standings through 5 races. Pretty impressive for Ryan Foster. Now, this kid has only run 4 of the 5 races, and he's currently sitting 6th in the point standings. Bobby Gerhart started the season off with that win at Daytona, and that has kept him at the top of the point standings. Look at Frank Kimmel, our 7-time ARCA Series champion, currently 5th in the points. Now, yesterday qualifying took place, and one guy had a little bit of problems negotiating his way around this half-mile track, and that was Billy Venerini. His first lap, he was able to qualify with a great lap of a time that got him 12th in this field. But look at what happened during his second lap. Having a little bit of trouble getting into turn 3. Now, a guy who didn't have any problems getting around this track in qualifying is Frank Kimmel, and he's standing by with Don Radebaugh.
Thanks, Rick. You know, Toledo Speedway has always been very kind to Frank Kimmel. Had his first ARCA start here in 1990. His first victory came here in 94. And, of course, several years down the road, he's now the all-time Toledo winner with 9 series victories. Frank, it sounds like you're the top dog at Toledo Speedway and on the pole here today. However, you're not the top dog in points right now, something a little unusual. Are you carrying around a little more extra pressure as a result?
Well, you know, for sure we don't want to be running 5th in points all year, that's for sure. But, you know, I'm really excited about this year. We've had a great car in every single race. Daytona, we were a little bit down, but after that, we've run really, really well. So just had some bad troubles, but it's great to be back here at Toledo.
What's your secret to success here?
I don't know. You know, it's everybody asks what you do different here, but we've got a really completely different setup than we've ever had on a race car here. And I don't know. We really love this racetrack. Had a lot of fond memories here and a lot of great racing. Can't wait to get going.
That's Frank Kimmel, series veteran. There's another veteran doing very well. In fact, he's leading the point standings, and he's with our Wendy Venerini.
Don, whoever would have thought that 6 races into the ARCA season, Bobby Gerhart would be leading the points when he's not even supposed to be running the full season. Bobby, are you running off full momentum? What are you doing? Are you running the whole season with us?
Really haven't made that decision yet, Wendy. I feel very, very fortunate at this time of year to be sitting where we're at. And, you know, a couple factors play into that. You know, first of all, to be 47 and be competitive today, just an honor to be in a sport that attracts these great fans, fantastic sponsors like Lucas Oil. First of all, without them, we simply wouldn't be here. So we didn't expect to be leading the points here. I wouldn't say at this point either, because our initial plan wasn't maybe to run all the races, but you know, at this point, we're just taking it one race at a time.
The biggest surprise to me is your short track program has really stepped up, and the short tracks that we've had already, you've had success. Are you looking forward to Toledo today?
Oh, I always look forward to Toledo. You come here, it's such a nostalgic racetrack. I'd like nothing better than to put my name up there as a winner here. I'd run here religiously, although we haven't run, you know, for the championship in a while. What we've done basically this year is taken our best shot at every race. We've tried to take our best piece no matter what it is, engine and car-wise, and I guess it's shown.
It definitely has, and there's nothing more special than your name going in the history book at Toledo Speedway. Rick?
Thank you, Wendy. The drivers are going to climb in their cars, and we're going to start the engines next. It's been a wild season so far. 5 races, 5 different winners.
Start your engine!
Was presented by Remax. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. Brought to you in part by Suzuki. Get everything you want in the premium compact Forenza. Go for it. And by SK Tools, the official hand tools of ARCA. And the crowds are anticipating today's command. It's a little bit of a crisp day here in Toledo, Ohio. We go down for today's command.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the coveted Hantz Group 200 trophy, start your engines!
On the outside front row in a car that he calls Hermie. It's his favorite car. It's because he bought it from Hermie Sadler. He's always good at this track at Toledo. Never really qualified well, so it was a little surprising to Brian Keselowski for him to qualify so well. He feels this car has always done what he has wanted it to do, and it will be a good day for Brian Keselowski.
Brian Keselowski will start on the outside of row number 1. Well, he's got some pretty impressive drivers around him. Frank Kimmel will start on his inside. Kimmel has won this race 9 times. That is an amazing statistic. But Ken Schrader has also won this race 3 times. So those two have really dominated over the last 12 years here at Toledo. Blaise Alexander, the only one to separate those guys back in 1999. Now, to get a better idea of how to negotiate this track, yesterday I took a trip around this tricky half-mile with Frank Kimmel.
This is a great racetrack, great for fans. That's why it's so successful on a Saturday night program. That's why it's so good for the ARCA cars, because you just can't beat how good and racy this whole racetrack is. And it's just a lot of fun to run around. And we saw several spins today in practice and qualifying, but we saw very little contact with the wall. Just 2 or 3 cars got into the wall. That's what's nice about the banks at Toledo. The track is just made. It's just a great place to race.
Well, folks, we've been around this track, and it's probably taken us about 25 seconds to make a lap. Frank, you turned it in under 17 seconds to claim the pole. So we're not going quite as fast, but we are moving around this short track. So Kimmel did take us around the track in the pace car, and now he is strapped into his race car. And we'll be back for the Hantz Group 200 after these messages from Toledo Speedway. And welcome back to Toledo Speedway, where ARCA Remax Series kicks off another short track race from the home of the ARCA Remax Series, Toledo. Track Very difficult, somewhat flat racetrack, but not too difficult for the ARCA Remax Series champion Frank Kimmel. He has put his car on the pole for the second time only at Toledo Speedway, but for the 39th time in his career he's been on the pole.
Brett Sherman here just put this effort together here Monday. Called Lee Leslie last minute Monday morning. They went to work, and man, what an effort they've produced here at Toledo. Michael Simcoe on the outside there. He runs a lot of late models here. Shops in Michigan. Good racer.
Josh Richardson actually qualified Ken Schrader's number 99. Ken was working in Charlotte yesterday, but was able to get up here for the race. So Ken Schrader will actually start at the back of the field today.
Bobby Gearhart, best qualifying effort here at Toledo. He was real surprised here this morning. He said, man, I'm real excited to qualify so well here and leading the points. Just hope we have a good outcome. Alongside of him, 18-year-old Ryan Foster. Great run for him.
Terry Jones, Brett Rowe making up row number 5.
See TJ Bell, just another good run for him alongside of Scott Legacy Jr. Getting a lot of experience in that Eddie Sharp racing. Car was real loose for him in qualifying, but he says he thinks it'll tighten up here through the day.
Take a look at 7 through 9, the qualifying positions. Billy Venerini again qualified on the inside of row 7, but because of that accident that he had in qualifying, he will actually go to the back as well.
Damon Lust also spun out there in qualifying his second lap. Justin Allgaier not having the lap that he really wanted, real fast in practice. But again, this is a tough racetrack. It takes a lot to really get a hold of it. And unfortunately, these guys had a little trouble in qualifying.
A lot of veterans mixed in with the rookies that run in the ARCA Remax Series. And on a short track that really is amplified as far as if you're a rookie running next to a veteran.
See Andy Belmont takes up the tail. Andy just having a little operation on his gallbladder. Good luck to Andy. He's feeling a little better. He is in the race car right now, hearing that James Hilton may jump in that car.
Riding along with a couple different cars, Michael Simcoe in the number 45, starting in the 4th position. We'll be able to ride along with him around this short track. Also on board with our series champion, Frank Kimmel. He starts on the pole, so we might not see another car in front of him for about 4 or 5 laps until he catches to the end of the field.
I'll tell you, Frank's got this place figured out. Driving an ex-Rouse car, they call it Daisy. It's the car that he always runs here, and this car just really gets into the racetrack. He's real excited about it.
35 cars on the track. 45 tried to qualify. These are the ones that failed to qualify. These 10 cars will not be in today's field. The ones that are going to the back, we talked a little bit about Ken Schrader and Billy Venerini. Phil Bozell jumping into that car. It was qualified by a different driver. Billy Leslie and Josh Allison made changes to their cars, and that's why they're going to head to the back. Coming out of turn 4, we're underway with racing at Toledo Speedway. Frank Kimmel leads the field through 1 and 2. These guys to spread out a little bit, maybe go single file after a while, or are we going to see really side-by-side racing around this track the whole time?
Well, it's so important here. Really, the preferred crew this early in the race is down on the bottom of the racetrack. You have to get your car pulled down to the bottom, just like Frank has done. It's so important to get down on the bottom this early in the race. You see the 29 car hanging out there on the outside. He needs to fall in behind Brett Sherman, get back in line, get some heat in his tires. It's so important here early in the race. Get some heat in the tires, get some rubber down on this racetrack, and then you can go racing.
Brent Sherman just behind Frank Kimmel. Now Brent's back from running in the Busch Series as well as other series. This is his first race back since about 2004 into the ARCA Remax Series.
Yep, talked to Brett a little bit before the race. He said, man, I'm excited to be back. I tell you, it's a pressure cooker over there on the Cup side, and we do know that.
Got a car slow on the track. That brings out our first caution.
See the 26 car, Brad Smith, as he limps around the bottom. Ooh, that looks like a little bit of damage on that car. Looks like hard impact with the wall. Brad Smith, a longtime competitor, the ARCA Remax Series, been around a long time. Veteran of this series, unfortunately not the way he wanted to start his day here at Toledo.
Well, Toledo races are known for a lot of close finishes, but also a lot of cautions. And our first one has come out. Brad Smith bringing out our first caution. Frank Kimmel up in front of this field. We'll see if he can stay there all day long. Toledo Speedway, Frank Kimmel still holding on to the top spot. He's Clarksville, Indiana native. Impressive statistics, not only 7-time champion of the series, but 9 victories at just this track. So he is very, very dominant when it comes to Toledo, Ohio. Wendy Venerini.
It was only a matter of time before we were going to see Andy Belmont get out of the car. He is recovering from gallbladder surgery. He was almost doubled over in pain, it looked like, right before the start of the race when I spoke to him. I asked him how long he was going to last. He said, I don't know, maybe my adrenaline will take over and I'll get a boost out there on the track, but apparently not, because during this caution, Andy Belmont came down pit road and James Hilton stepped into the one car to sub for recovering Andy Belmont.
Well, an interesting statistic. Wendy, Andy's not missed entering an ARCA race in 9 years, so that's why he wanted to start this one, to make sure that that record stays intact. As the pace car pulls to the inside, Frank Kimmel gets it back underway. 7 laps of racing complete. Then our first caution came out on lap 3. Brad Smith slowed. It doesn't look as though Frank Kimmel is going to slow down. This guy, we talked about it in qualifying, how good he is around this racetrack. He just looks so smooth.
He is so smooth, and that's what's so important when your race car gets into the racetrack like it does. They have got a real soft setup on that racetrack, it appears, and he just really sucks into the racetrack. When he goes fast, it really doesn't look like he's going very fast. He's real smooth, and it doesn't really look like he's going fast. But that's how it is when you're in a car and also when you watch a car. It don't look fast, but it is.
Now we're starting to see a lot more single file. Obviously, they restarted single file. But we are seeing a little bit of side-by-side racing back toward the back of the pack. Now, Frank Kimmel has put already some distance between himself and second place Brent Sherman. A little over a half a second between the two of those.
If, like you talked about, Rick, it's so important to stay on the bottom of this racetrack right now till we get some rubber down. Then you'll see some racing up in that second groove. But talked to Frank a little bit before, and he said, no, we need to stay on the bottom. 2
guys that were trying to work their way from the back of the pack toward the front, Billy Venerini and Ken Schrader. Ken Schrader just behind Venerini now. He's got problems with the lap traffic that he's going to have to deal with, as well as all of the guys he's racing positions for to get back up to the front of this field.
Well, exactly. You see them guys split the 24 car. Chuck Weber, it's so important that they make their way to the front, because you can get lapped here in a real hurry. So they really do need to stand on it, get all they can out of this race car as early as they can, and get to the front so they don't get lapped this early in the event.
Wendy, what do you think's going on with Ken Schrader?
Talked to Ken before the start of the race. I said, how worried are you about starting in the back of the pack? Of course, he was racing last night in Charlotte for the Nextel Open, so he just got to Toledo Speedway today. And when I asked him about it, he said, my only concern is keeping the fenders on. If I can do that, I know I can run good. He said the car has been running good. Of course, Josh Richardson, Donnie Richardson's son, qualified that car for Ken Schrader.
Problems coming out of turn 4. Damon Luss gets spun around. The caution will come out.
Looks like he's back underway. Wow, that could have been big. All the cars swerved around the outside and just made it around. Damon, boy, he's glad for that.
Now, Damon doesn't look like he made any contact with anything on the inside of the track. He slid down low. A lot of smoke coming out, and luckily, no one got into him.
Kept from going a lap down. That's real important here at Toledo, and possibly the car just a little bit loose and just got turned around there. Plenty of room on this front straightaway at Toledo. They've got a little bit of an infield or a little racetrack on the inside here, so there's no front wall down the front straightaway, as you can see here as you come down the front straightaway here, and that makes a big difference. So you don't get you do get turned, you got plenty turnaround room, and you don't get into the retaining wall. So important as you see the cars drive by as they pass the start finish line. No front wall there, so it gives the driver a lot of compensation room to keep from getting tore up.
Let's take a look at what happened to Damon Luss. That was the end of that. He had spun coming out of 4, got completely turned around, then was able to straighten the car out, and you see how no one was around to get into him, so it was actually a pretty good accident.
It really was. Here's a look at Schrader. See Schrader with his hand up in the car, waving the car off behind you. So important as a race car driver to communicate. That's the biggest problem. That's the biggest reason we have wrecks in race cars. Drivers don't communicate sometimes. You see Schrader got that hand up. Let that driver know behind him. Slow down so you don't get run over from the back, and then you get turned around. Then your day's over.
Damon Luss trying to continue the streak he's got going. First 5 races, he's got 1 top 5, 3 top 10s. That's moved him into third in the point standing so far. So Damon Luff's going to try to work his way back up through the field now. And this little spin, if there isn't any damage to the car, really shouldn't cause him any problems to work his way back up to the front.
No, Rick, the only fear is that you flat spot the tires. If you get real hard down on the brake pedal and you push that brake down real hard, you flat spot the tires. So he'll know here in a few laps, cause a big vibration in the car, and he may have to come in and get another set of tires. But hopefully he didn't flat spot.
Green flag back out. Frank Kimmel, Brent Sherman, Ryan Keselowski, and Michael Simcoe, your top four as they go across the start-finish line. Bobby Gerhart in fifth. Now, there's a great story. Bobby Gerhart, one we would think is a super speedway ace as far as winning at Daytona 4 times. He's won at Talladega. This guy is really good on the long tracks, but he's also had some pretty impressive finishes on short tracks this year.
He's real excited about it today. He said, Dave Liner, my brother Bill, have worked hard on this race car and really made the thing turn. He said, Dan, it's into the racetrack, and this is the first time I've ever come to a racetrack like this, like Toledo, and come here and get hooked up so well. So he's really surprised about doing as well as he did today himself.
Don, what else do you think about Bobby Gerhart?
Well, I think he's had some of his best finish on short tracks this year. 5th at Winchester, 3rd at Salem. This is the same car he raced here last year, and he built this car specifically for the short track, specifically for Toledo Speedway. It's running very, very well. He's a little tight in the center of the corner and a little loose off, but other than that, the handle is pretty good on the 5 car.
There we see Bobby Gerhart having to move around the number 1. Now, again, James Hilton is in the number 1. Andy Belmont started that car, but as Wendy had told us, he had to get out gallbladder surgery. So Andy Belmont out, James Hilton in it, and James dropping back through the field.
Yep, there we go.
Brent Sherman trying to reel in Frank Kimmel, holding on to the top spot still.
Say Brent Sherman and Lee Leslie, they put this deal together here this week. As you know, Brent was released over on the Nextel Cup side from the 49 BAM team here recently, and he decided to go ARCA racing. He said, I want to get back in the ARCA series. It's a great series. It'll take me places. I want to win a championship. He said, that's what I'm here to win today. He's got an ex-Rouse car underneath him, Jeff Collins Motors, good horsepower. And again, they put this effort together with literally, 3 or 4 days to get here.
One of the great things Brent Sherman's got going for him is he can really learn from the Toledo master. I mean, he's got Frank Kimmel right in front of him. He can watch his line. He can pretty much drive behind Frank Kimmel if he can hang with him all day long.
Well, Rick, that's exactly right. That's where I'd want to be if I was the driver. I'd want to be following Frank Kimmel. There's no one that knows how to get around this place any better than Frank. Also, Brent has learned a lot in the Nextel Cup series. And again, that makes you so much stronger in the ARCA series. That's why it makes him that better here today.
Don Radebaugh.
Elaborate on what Dan Parda said. I talked to Brent.
Hey, we got problems, Don. That's Ashley Parlett in the 96. She got spun around in turn 1. We don't know if she got help or not, but she is turned around right in the middle between 1 and 2, waiting for the field to go by her before she gets that one turned and get it straightened back out again.
No contact with the wall. Looks like if she can get backed up there, she'll be back under her way. This is Ashley's first ARCA race here today at Toledo. Here's a re-look at that. Oh, just getting lapped by the lead cars, looked like, and just caught the side of Brent Sherman's car. Unfortunately, just no racing room. See, Brent turns down to get down to the bottom of the racetrack, down to the white line, and actually just happened to be there. And again, that's something that we learn here at Toledo, and as a rookie in this series, it'll come in time.
So Ashley Parlett's turn, and she brings out our 3rd caution of the day here for the ARCA Re-Max series. Up front, it's Frank Kimmel, Brent Sherman, Ryan Keselowski, Bobby Gerhart, and Michael Simcoe.
Something big is coming to Charlotte. NASCAR's biggest week is coming to Lowe's Motor Speedway. It starts with CTC Pole Night on Thursday, May 25th, followed by the CarQuest Auto Parts 300 on Saturday night, and the Coca-Cola 600 on Sunday, May 28th, featuring a pre-race concert by Carrie Underwood. For tickets, call 800.
Novice bike builder create a custom dream chopper like the pros? They only get 30 days. Build or bust, Tuesday night, 10 Eastern, only on Speed. Short track racing continues for the ARCA Re-Max series. Frank Kimmel out in front of Brent Sherman. Another great start for Kimmel.
Frank just really launches off the start-finish line. He's just got the gear ratio really figured out here. Him and his brother Bill, they changed a lot of gear ratios in that transmission. He said they came here half a day and just worked pretty much on that to get that race car so it'll really launch off the start-finish line, and it's really proven to be effective here today.
Because of the size of this race, 200 laps, 100 miles, these drivers could go on one pit stop for fuel. Can they do it for tires?
Well, they can, but I tell you, if I'm out there running with guys and a caution comes with 50 to go, you've really got to come in and get tires, because the tires could fall off as much as a half of a second towards the end of the race. So you could go, but if the leaders come in for tires, your day's pretty much done. So you got to follow the leaders.
Well, Dan, how about the cycling of the tires? With 3 cautions already so far in this race, are we getting more cycles on there than we would normally see?
Yeah, you do, and the tire really does not like to cycle. Most tires don't. When they heat up and cool down and heat up and cool down, they get a little bit harder, but depending on the compound, it could be a plus for these tires, but everybody's doing the same thing, so it really doesn't affect just one guy.
Damon Lusk running in 31st right now, being shown 3 laps down. Wendy.
Of course, Damon was third in points coming into this race, but a little bit of trouble early on. A flat right rear tire put Damon Lusk deep in the field. He's going to have a rough day ahead of him now.
Really dug himself into a hole tough at the start of this race.
He really did, but if he uses his head, and it's a long race, it's 200 laps. Keep your nose clean, try and stay within leaders on that. Maybe he can get a few laps back here, and there'll be a few more cars going out before the end of the day here, I'm sure.
Keep your nose clean. I think that sounds like a pretty good strategy when it comes to running around a short track.
Looking out the back of Michael Simcoe's car. This was a Busch car that Michael built 2 years ago, and it was a 105-inch wheelbase car. They cut the car, made it a 110-inch wheelbase car, and now they run it in the ARCA series. ARCA cars are 110-inch wheelbase, just as are the Nextel Cup cars. So they cut the snout on the front, made it longer, and now it is a competitive ARCA car. So they did a great job doing that.
Simcoe had his best season performance back in Winchester, where he finished 4th. So he's currently in 5th in this one, looking to move up. But a good top 5 run for Michael Simcoe.
Michael is a crane operator in a family-owned steel business in Michigan. The shop is in Michigan. He says, I work on the crane all day. I leave the crane, go to the race shop, and work on the race car all week. He says, just a life that we live. And if you're a racer, we can all respect what he's doing there. Races a lot of late models. He's going to come run the late model series here, I believe, in a few days. So he knows this racetrack, and he does like it.
Right behind him, we're seeing Ryan Foster in that 47. Ryan currently 6th in the point standings, and again, he's only run 4. Well, this will be his 5th of the 6 races run this year.
Tremendous.
Very impressive.
Absolutely. 18-year-old kid, graduated here on Friday. He said, I left graduation up Friday this week. He said, I flew right after graduation, came to the racetrack to get my car qualified. That's Frank Kimmel. That's a backup car for the Kimmel crew. Bill Kimmel, of course, calling some of the shots on that car, getting these kids in the right direction. His first time here was yesterday. So he's doing a great job here, really good job. Looks like a little damage on the right front of that car. Maybe got in the back of somebody on a restart, and that will affect the downforce a little bit, Rick, on that car.
Don, what do you know about the 47?
I know one thing, there may be a wrinkle in that car, but Ryan Foster came over the radio and said the handle is absolutely perfect. I can't believe it. I absolutely love this place. Never seen it before, but man, I love this track. He loves the other tracks too. He's coming off a career best finish at Kentucky Speedway, 5th there. He was 6th at Winchester and 9th at Salem, 3 top 10s. Heck, this is Frank Kimmel's teammate, 18 years young in his first season, and he's 6th in points right behind Frank Kimmel. Frank Kimmel's got his eyes wide open over this kid, but he has done a wonderful job this year and doing a great job here today. He says the handle is perfect.
Well, what a better mentor to have than Frank Kimmel if you're a young driver trying to work your way up into the ARCA series. How about the 16 of Justin Allgaier? That guy is really moving up.
Wow, he's come from the back. He started 22nd here today. He's just doing a fine job. Larry Moore, crew chiefing on that car, just been really tweaking on that thing. It really did not have the qualifying effort that they really wanted. They struggled in qualifying. The car was loose, but unfortunate. He's working his way right to the front.
Justin's running fairly well. Wendy, what do you think's going on with him?
Justin has said that his car is loose, but loose might be fast around Toledo Speedway. And of course, at this track is his best career finish of 2nd. It came back in 2004.
Another young kid that really has been having a lot of success. 19 years old, from Springfield, Illinois.
Good battle there with the 32 car. Blake Bjorklund, ARCA Re Everham car. Casey Kane's driven that car. Greg Yossi Motors in that car. Another youngster doing a great job.
Well, we see some single file runs. We saw the 16 of Justin Allgaier get by Blake Bjorklund in that 32. Now we see the 30 of Terry Jones starting to reel in Blake Bjorklund. So there are some side-by-side battles. You really have to pick your spots on this track to try to make passes.
Yes, you do. You really need to have a good run down the straightaway and try and pass your competitor down the straightaway, so when you get down in the corner, you can put it down to the bottom and stay in your groove. You see Frank Kimmel picking his place around the racetrack, being real careful, tiptoeing around the 84 car, Norm Benning. You see he looks around the outside of him.
You say tiptoeing around. Well, he's tiptoeing around so fast, he's got 2.5 seconds on second place, Brian Keselowski. So it is Frank Kimmel in front of Brian Keselowski, the 04 of Brent Sherman and Bobby Gerhardt. Ken Schrader's got success at Toledo Speedway. He's got 3 wins back in 97, 04, and 05, and he's working his way toward the front, currently in 6th position. Ken Schrader has moved up, started back in the pack because he had another driver qualifying his car, and so he's been able to work up. Now he's working on getting into the top 5.
Talking to Donnie Richardson before the race, he said the car was really good. He said, we've done a good job with it qualifying. He said, but I'm a little bit stumped. He said the car was loose in qualifying. It shouldn't have been loose in qualifying. He said that bothers me, but obviously it went the right way for him, I'm sure.
Most definitely. Wendy.
It's always fun to watch Schrader work his way through traffic, work his magic on this track. When I went up to Donnie Richardson, the crew chief, I asked him what kind of changes they were going to make on the next pit stop. He said nothing right now. Schrader's been very quiet on the radio. Obviously, he's just working through traffic at this point.
Well, Frank Kimmel now has his hands full. Ken Schrader, again, running pretty well. He's broke into the top 5. He was able to get by the 47 of Ryan Foster. Currently being shown as 5th, but Frank Kimmel now has caught up with a big group of cars, and he has got, this looks like rush hour on the freeway for Frank Kimmel. Billy Venturini just in front of him. On his outside, Brett Rowe on the outside.
Tough deal there when you get blocked in on the inside and the outside, just nowhere to go, and man, that gets real frustrating. Listening to Frank Kimmel on the radio a minute, he was getting real frustrated. Brother Bill calmed him down. He said, Frank, take it easy. We got a long way to go. I know they're closing on you, but we'll pick our lead back up, and that's exactly what he done there.
Now, Billy Venturini is currently 19th in this field. That means that 20 through 35 are at least a lap down. So Frank Kimmel has put 15 cars a lap down already in this race. We haven't even made it to the halfway point.
Well, it's so superior. Again, he's got this place figured out, and he's into this racetrack. And if he just keeps that momentum going, like we talked about earlier, this is a momentum racetrack. It's so important to keep it going. He'll just keep setting sail.
The other amazing thing about Frank Kimmel is his patience. I mean, he's not moving anyone out of the way. He's not doing anything crazy. Take a look at our point standings as they stand right now. Frank Kimmel would move all the way up to 2nd. Wow. If the race would end right now. Obviously, it is not going to end right now. Bobby Gerhardt still holding on to a lead about 70 points over Frank Kimmel. So Gerhardt still running pretty well as he's sitting in 3rd position right now.
Again, you just got to be so careful. As you see, he's back in the back there, 3rd car on the inside. He has to work through this traffic and be so cautious. Billy Venturini right in front of him. These cars are trying to not lose their lap, but Frank Kimmel's trying to put him another lap down. So, man, it just gets real frustrating on the short tracks. But that's what short track grassroots racing is about.
We saw the 6 of Dexter Bean getting a little bit loose there, and I think there's quite a few cars that are trying to hang on to him. We got another caution come out on the racetrack. Blake Bjorklund in the 32 has got spun around coming out of turn 4. So 4th caution of the day comes out. It's Blake Bjorklund bringing out this most recent.
See Blake a little left front fender damage on that car, but probably not enough to make too bad of a difference. Looks like the left front tire's down on Blake's car. When he comes down and gets a left front tire put on that, they can pull that left front fender back out there, and hopefully he can be back underway.
Say a little bit of rubbing here. Maybe you've caused that tire to go down?
Yeah, good possibility. I see a little rubber marks there on the fender, but you know, unfortunate. Again, it gets so tight in these corners, you have to stay in the gas, and sometimes a guy gets a little loose and bounces off the side of you. Nothing intentional. Rubbin's racing, like we say.
That's right. 3 ARCA starts so far this season for Blake Bjorklund. Pretty impressive finishes, in 8th at Salem and 7th at Kentucky. So he was looking to continue that success. This spin will back him up a little bit and make it a little more difficult for him to keep up that impressive run he's got going so far this season.
See 79 laps completed. I would say that we're going to see some cars come down pit row, and it's more like probably a follow the leader. They're probably going to be following Frank Kimmel. Again, if you're up there in that top 10 and your car's ill handling, not taking kindly to the racetrack, I'd probably come down pit row too. It's time to come in. If they do come in, they could make it to the end realistically. So I think we may see some pit stops this time around, Rick.
When they come by the start finish line, we'll have completed 80 laps. So we're closing in on the halfway point. Is this enough for them to make it a one-stop race? Can they, after 80 laps, could they go the remainder of the race on fuel?
Yes, they could. Once we make 80, we could go the distance. But as you see the cars fall down pit row, it's so important that we're going to need tires at the end. So I think you're going to see a second pit stop there sometime in the last 50 laps.
Top 3, top 4 looking as though they're going to come down pit road. Now the top 5 with Ryan Foster. He'll also come down pit road. Let's go down to pit road. Wendy Venerini.
Bobby Gerhart was running 3rd. They were trying to contemplate whether to come down pit road. He said it's so hard to pass at this place, but on the other hand, it's safer to be up front than obviously in the back with a lot of traffic. They did decide to come in with Frank Kimmel, 4 tires, no adjustment on Bobby Gerhart. Don?
Frank Kimmel needs a little more rear stagger in that car to help the car turn. It was a little tight through the center of the corner. Other than that, all routine here in the 46 pit. Right side tires already on the port board. Left side going on as well. Kimmel doing very well and ready to go.
They dropped the jack. Kimmel coming out of the pits, and he was in the #1 stall. So he had the first stall to go out back onto the racetrack, and he won that race off of pit road. We'll take a look at who came off second. That's Ken Schrader. Oh my goodness. The 2 veterans, the 2 guys that have dominated this racetrack now 1 and 2 for the restart. Well, we'll see if Ken Schrader has anything for Frank Kimmel. It's been all Frank Kimmel so far, but now he's got another winner at Toledo right behind him. We'll find out if Ken Schrader can catch Kimmel. Hantz Group 200 from Toledo, Ohio at Toledo Speedway, the home of ARCA. And Frank Kimmel now has his hands full with the number 99 of Ken Schrader right behind him. A couple guys stayed out this last time when others were able to get in and make a pit stop. That's Todd Bowser out in front, as well as Gary Sherman in the 62. They're in front of Frank Kimmel and Ken Schrader. Now Kimmel going 3 wide down the backstretch, and Kimmel will get by the lap cars, or lap those cars to put them down a lap.
Wow, got a little tight there. Looked like everybody's shooting for the same spot, but Kimmel knew that he needed to be on the bottom of that corner. If not, he would have got held up, and you know, just made it that much harder on him.
Kimmel able to get by Todd Bowser and put him a lap down. Damon Lusk following behind Kimmel, but Damon Lusk also a couple laps down now, being recorded as 3 laps down to Kimmel.
Todd Bowser fighting to keep that lap back in a GFS Gordon Food Service car. He works full time at the store there and races during the week. Works real hard on that race car. GFS Food Service has been behind him for a long time. 125 stores in the Midwest. Great sponsor on that car.
Ryan Foster currently holding on the 3rd position. Ryan Keselowski in 4th. Ken Weaver in 5th position. That's a great move up for Ken Weaver. He started this race in 27th position.
Yeah, Ken under the Eddie Sharp stables just had a tough qualifying lap. He said, you know, I don't know what to deal with. We worked, and we threw a whole different setup qualifying. I wasn't real sure of it. He said, well, I'm not sure what's really going to happen for the race. He said, but you know how it is here at Toledo. Track position's everything, and he chose to stay out, and it proved to be true here now. Yeah,
Ken Weaver, before the race, said, I wish I'd have a cattle guard to put on the front of my car on these short tracks.
I'm sure a lot of guys do, including Frank Kimmel. There's Justin Allgaier looking to the inside. Oh, a little bit tight. Justin did the right thing, got down on the brake pedal and put it down on the apron. Looked like he got a little damage on the left rear corner of Ken Weaver's car. They did make contact going down there in the corner.
Ken Weaver had some problems in practice. He was pretty loose. He spun in turn 2 twice, but was able to get that straightened out. Again, didn't have the great qualifying effort that he was looking for, but right now running pretty strong up in 6th position.
Yeah, he is. Justin just stuck his nose in there. See Justin taking a second charge here, but he's going to tiptoe. There you go. Looks to the bottom and stands on the gas. So important to get off the corner here so you can drag race him down the straightaway, and that's exactly what Justin Allgaier did. Ken Weaver moves up the racetrack. Smart move. Let Justin by. Justin appears to be a little bit faster, but Ken will just follow on and just keep digging. Hopefully have a good top 10 finish here today. Be a victory for that team.
Side-by-side racing here. Brent Sherman, Gary. 2 Shermans running side-by-side. Obviously no relation, though.
The Shermans. You stay low, I'll stay high. Brett having a little trouble. He fell back there right before that caution, Rick. I believe the car was tight. Listening to him on the radio, the car was tight, tight, tight. Unfortunately, when you turn the wheel here off Toledo and step on the gas pedal, the car don't turn, it really slows it down, takes its toll. So when they came in and made a pit stop there, I'm sure they made some adjustments.
Frank Kimmel again restarted this race in the lead, won the race off of pit road. Coming off of pit road second was Ken Schrader. Now Frank Kimmel running here. Ken Schrader all the way back here. So Kimmel has been able to work his way through lap traffic a lot better than Ken Schrader has. Wendy, what happened in that pit stop?
Well, Schrader did come down and get 4 tires, no adjustments because he's been happy with his car. Donnie Richardson said, when I asked him about Ken Schrader pitting outside the box just slightly, Donnie Richardson, the crew chief, just shrugged his shoulders as if, well, they didn't penalize us.
Yeah, we took a look at this earlier, and I questioned. I said, I think you've got to have at least 3 of the tires inside that line, and his right front's on the outside of it.
You're exactly right, Rick. You see the line right here, and unfortunately, looks like the right front. It's iffy. That would have been a tough call. But I tell you, when we come to these short tracks with ARCA, the pits are tight. Sometimes ARCA kind of turns their head just a little bit the other way for safety reasons.
Well, Frank Kimmel able to negotiate through the lap traffic better than Ken Schrader so far. So Frank Kimmel has put over 2 seconds between himself and second place Ken Schrader. A great run for Brian Keselowski. He's holding on to 3rd. 4th is Ryan Foster, and 5th Brent Sherman. So a couple rookies back there running well, but it's the veterans that are running up front at Toledo.
Wednesday on
Anytime during the weekend, leave your message, then tune in to Wind Tunnel as Dave Despain interviews Kevin Harvick tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on Speed. Those guys are fired up. If you're fired up, call them. Great racing continuing on this short track. Again, short track really the heart of the ARCA Re Series, and right now we're in the home of the ARCA Re Series in Toledo, Ohio. And Frank Kimmel looking for his 10th win on this racetrack. That is an amazing statistic.
Frank and Schrader have literally owned this place through the years. I mean, them 2 guys have really got hooked into this racetrack. They've got a secret. I mean, obviously, they've got something that no one else has. They figured something out. They figured some camber adjustments out on the front wheels. They figured out how to get this car into the racetrack and make it turn, because it's so important with these big sweeping corners to get the car turned to the center, and that's exactly what they've done. And obviously, no one else has really figured that out quite yet.
You know, I don't know how long it took us to get around this racetrack in the pace car yesterday, but Frank was so comfortable, and it didn't matter what car he was in. He's just comfortable on this racetrack, and I think that comes from the successes that he's been able to appreciate from here.
Oh, it does, absolutely. I mean, after, you know, years and years of experience and knowing that you can hook to the racetrack, knowing where to go and where not to go is so important, and Frank has proven that he can do that.
Side by side for 4th position. Ryan Foster on the inside, Justin Allgaier on the outside. They go across the start-finish line almost exactly the same.
3 wide. Man, that was a brave move for Justin Allgaier, you know, to enter the corner that high. But obviously that race car is just stuck to the racetrack also, and he's working that second groove. They're getting some rubber down there up top. As we talked about earlier, halfway through the race, we're 100+ laps in the race. We got a little bit of the second groove there.
As these 2 race side by side, Brent Sherman in that Sir to 04 right behind him saying, okay, you guys race side by side, and as soon as you bump or move each other out of the way, I'm coming through.
You're exactly right. 7 seconds out of the lead. That's exactly what Brett Sherman wants to see right now. These two guys out here duking it, running side by side, gives him a little bit of chance to advance position and move on to the next one. But
there goes Ryan Foster.
Wow.
Or Justin Allgaier. He got slid way up the racetrack. That allowed Brent Sherman to get on his inside. Now Justin Allgaier has to work his way back up. Oh, and he's got the slower lap car of Brad Smith.
Yeah, worked for him that time, that's for sure, Rick, because there was some lap traffic down on the bottom, and Justin was able to stay in the throttle, and Brett, unfortunately, lost about 3 or 4 car lengths.
Don, what's going on with Brent?
Well, I'll tell you what, the car's getting a lot better. He was very, very tight earlier, but under that pit stop, they took out a right rear spring rubber and loosened the car up with stagger, with air pressure, and the car is much, much better, but it was very tight earlier. In fact, a lot of these cars have been tight, Dan Partis. They've been washing up the track yesterday and today as well. Why would you think so?
Well, I tell you, as the tires heat up, and if a car has a little bit of a push, you turn the wheel as the laps go down, as the laps tick, and it just really heats the right front tire up, so it makes it that much more. How about Wendy? You got a little bit to add on that 16 car?
Well, Justin Allgaier, just as he gets passed by Brent Sherman, Brent Sherman's been working him all around Toledo Speedway. Now, Justin came in on lap 80 with everyone else. He's been tight all day. They loosened him up on that pit stop, but unfortunately for Justin, he is still just a little too tight, and it's starting to show on the track.
Well, it shows exactly that. By running that higher line, Rick, what that does is that does free the car up a little bit more. But I tell you, it's gutsy to run up there on that high side, because a little too much, a little too loose here could put you in the wall. As you see, whoa, as he gets a little loose, working under Todd Bowser in the GFS car.
Man, it's unbelievable. I mean, Justin Allgaier is running so hard on the high side of this track. Is he wearing his tires out?
Well, I talked to Frank Kimmel earlier, and that's exactly right. I asked Frank about the high side. He said, Dan, I've tried it. We've done long runs. It burns the right front tire off the car. He says if you run up there too high, just the texture of the asphalt is a little bit different. It heats the tire up a little bit more. You'll blister tires up on that top side. So hopefully Justin Allgaier don't run the tires off that car.
As we're coming up on 120 laps complete in this race, Frank Kimmel has lapped everyone but the top 15. So Frank Kimmel really dominating here at Toledo again.
Pretty impressive. Again, he's just so hooked up here in the car. Is just so good that he can work through traffic. Gets a little frustrated now and then working through traffic, but he's a veteran. He knows what it takes to win here.
Ken Weaver, we were just taking a look at him in the number 20. He's currently being shown in 7th position. So Ken Weaver into the top 10. Good run for him. TJ Bell in that number 50 has had a great season up to this point. TJ Bell actually very high in the point standings, and he is about to go a lap down to Frank Kimmel.
Oh, Legacy
high,
Jr., Scott Legacy Jr. A little bit high, Eddie Sharp entry. Looks like he maybe gotten the outside of the front wall down the front straightaway, but he's back underway. But maybe got a little bit loose off the corner there. Unfortunate for Scott Legacy Jr. Good driver out of Florida, trying to work his way through the NASCAR ranks. Eddie Sharp put some good wheel underneath him.
Take a look back at what happened with Scott Legacy Jr. We got some video here. A little loose. Look at that. Trying to catch that car.
Loose. He caught it. Pow. Just a little bit of right rear. May not have hurt the suspension on the car, but unfortunately, maybe knocked a little air off that rear spoiler.
He had his hands full coming out of 4. Like Scott Legacy Jr. ran in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race on Friday, so he's had a busy weekend. Hopped on a plane through here to Toledo so that he could run in the number 4 Dodge. He's a Dodge development driver for Chip Ganassi, and so Scott Legacy Jr. his hands full on the short track. It's Frank Kimmel looking for win number 10 at Toledo, Ohio. Ken Schrader a second behind him in 2nd. Speed's coverage of the ARCA Re Series from Toledo is brought to you by SK Tools, the official hand tools of ARCA. And by Fastenal, quality products and service from quality people. Expect it from Fastenal.
I don't think it's coming.
Caution 5 has come out. That's Justin South in the number 78. He got turned around in turn 3 and 4. Slowed the field down, and so they brought the caution out. Justin South started his first ARCA race at the age of 16 at Salem back in 2004. So to do the math, just 18 years old. Justin South running in the ARCA Re Series. Frank Kimmel now, the decision is, do you come in or do you stay out? A couple guys have made the decision to come in. Looks like Bobby Gerhart, Billy Venturini are going to come down pit road, but Frank Kimmel is going to stay out.
Yeah, listening to some transmission on the radio, it sounds like he's going to stay out, but that could always be a ploy there too, Rick. You never know. You know, sometimes drivers will say things on the radio, other teams hear them just to kind of trick them a little bit, but in my opinion, I think he's going to stay out. See Bobby Gerhart down there on pit row. Yeah, and he is currently being shown in 10th position. Bobby Gerhart is. Billy Venturini came in for some service on that car. Again, he was put a lap down. Back underway. Tough day for Billy. Crashed in qualifying there. Wasn't real sure of his backup car, and not the performance I'm sure Billy wanted to see here today. He could be a potential winner here for sure, but not having time in the race car. Needs to just take care of the race car, work on it, adjust it, and try and get a decent finish here today. See Justin Allgaier down on pit row. Crew 10s of that car. Crew chief Larry Moore been a crew chief on that car. Larry's been a crew chief on my car before, running the ARCA series. Great crew chiefs. Two-time winner of the World 600 at Toledo Speedway. Justin Allgaier in getting service. Wendy, what's going on?
Well, he was just a little too tight, so they brought him in to make those adjustments so Justin would be a little bit more comfortable when they went to green. Also on pit road was the 5 of Bobby Gerhart. It sounds like there's trouble on the track.
Well, no, it was getting out of the pits there, Wendy. Gary Sherman almost hit Justin Allgaier. Looks like he did get in the door there a little bit down the bottom, but could have been a lot worse. Wow, a little tight down here on pit row in these short tracks, as we know. Cars catching up. Back to the pack, getting ready for the restart. Lights are off on the pace car, meaning that this time by they will see the green flag. Again, Frank Kimmel has been out in front of this race the entire time. 132 laps in the books, and it's been all Frank Kimmel. He's been the only one in front of the field. The green flag flies again. Ken Schrader right behind Frank Kimmel. They're 1 and 2 as they go through turns 1 and 2, and they're the only two that have won at Toledo over the past 5 years. Wow, I tell you though, that was a great restart for Ken Schrader. We haven't seen Ken behind Frank Kimmel since they started the race, because them two cars have not been together, but looks like Schrader's got almost what Frank Kimmel's got. Schrader able to stay fairly close to Kimmel, but I'm telling you, coming out of turn number 2, Frank Kimmel just looks like he's got another gear. He just pulls away from anybody that's ever been behind him. You're exactly right, Rick. It looks like he gets fired out of a cannon down to turn 2. He can just stand on the throttle when he gets to the center, and man, that's great. In our ride along, when I was with Kimmel, he showed me how when he comes out of the corner, he almost aims for the center of the racetrack, the wall. He shoots out high against the wall and then tucks it right back into the corners. Yep, shoot right off the corner and stand on the gas. Use all the racetrack possible, and that's so important here to take care of them tires too. See the 16 car, Justin Allgaier, working back through traffic. He came in and got tires, moved him back to 12th position, but this might be, depending on what happens with his green flag run, Justin will be a little bit faster than the leaders at times, but he needs to get work through this traffic. Bobby Gerhart and Justin Allgaier again on new tires, fresh tires, because they came in for a pit stop under this most recent caution. And so it's only a matter of time. Dan, you're saying they've got to come back in for tires. Is that what you're saying about Ken Schrader and Frank Kimmel? Well, they don't have to, no. They can run the distance, but the tires will be some half a second slower than, say, the 16 car and the 5 car Bobby Gerhart. Being they have not taken tires yet, if these guys make their way through traffic, it's really going to hurt them on the long run. So it just depends on what these cars did that just took new tires. If they can get through this traffic and get within smelling distance of them two, Schrader and Kimmel, they may have their hands full towards the end. And even though Gerhart has fresh tires on his car, he did get a little bit loose right here. Wow, just a log jam there. Looked like Billy Venturini got on the brake pedal, almost running the car in front of him. Bobby had to get hard on the brakes. Not what he wanted to see here. Pushed him back some 6-8 car lengths, but he'll just have to regain and move back through. Just moved up the track. Bobby Gerhart there. Now, Kimmel has already put over a second between himself and the 99 of Ken Schrader. This guy's amazing at Toledo.
He has got it figured out. Again, this race car is in the racetrack. He does not spin the tires. It's so important as you enter the corner, as you start to come off the corners here, you mash down on the gas pedal. If the tires spin, you just burn the back tires off and the car gets loose, and he's just really got hooked to this racetrack.
Don, has he got his favorite radio station tuned in that number 46?
Yeah, he's got his favorite radio station, all right, his brother Bill Kimmel and crew chief. If Frank has his way, he'll get to come down pit road again because he says, I need tires. They put too much stagger in that last pit stop. He wants to take some stagger out and lower the track bar. He's a little more loose than he wants to be right now. He says, I want tires for the finish of this race. We're going to need them.
Well, they better hope for another caution here pretty soon then, because right now, currently, there are 12 cars being shown on the lead lap. And earlier I had mentioned Billy Venturini a lap down. He's not a lap down. He's currently in 9th position. So he's running pretty well. But if they need tires, they're going to have to come in pretty soon. Otherwise, they're going to have their hands full trying to negotiate the field to get back to the front if they do stop. It's Frank Kimmel out in front. Pit strategy may be coming up soon. Welcome back to Toledo Speedway. Well, it's been an extremely successful career for Frank Kimmel, and he could have pretty much a career at Toledo Speedway. He's had 9 wins at this racetrack. A lot of them have been kind of ho-hum wins where he's dominated, but he's also had some very close wins here too. Of those 9, this one right here is from last fall under the lights. Look at the close finish there for Frank Kimmel. That was his 9th win at Toledo Speedway. He's looking for race number 10 or win number 10 today. He's putting on a clinic right now. He's got about a second, almost 2 seconds on Ken Schrader right now. And Ken Schrader's running second, but having a hard time keeping in front of the 29 of Brian Keselowski.
I tell you, he looked so relaxed in that race car. If you've seen him chopping on that wheel, he was turning down in the corner, maybe turning a little bit more than he wanted to, and maybe a little bit too free. Like Don Radeball said, he may have a little bit too much rear stagger in them tires, meaning that the right rear tire is a little bit more rounded than the left rear, but they can make an adjustment if they can make it in again to get another set of tires.
Justin Allgaier holding on to the 7th position in that number 16 car.
Now, Justin setting sail, guys. He came back out here 12th or 13th after he'd taken tires, and like I said, he's on brand new tires. If he catches the guys in the front, they could have some tough competition there with Justin Allgaier because, again, he is on fresh tires. So that may have been a real good pit strategy worked out by Larry Moore, the crew chief on that car.
Next pass for position for Justin Allgaier will be the 04 of Brent Sherman. Sherman holding on to the 6th position. Just in front of Justin Allgaier right now, TJ Bell in that number 50. He's a lap down.
Fortunate for TJ on that Bobby Jones racing car. Bobby just built a brand new facility up there in the Charlotte area. They've been struggling here today. That's a brand new race car that they built there in the shop. Still getting some of the bugs worked out of it, but Mike Agee Motors in that car. A lot of horsepower. Unsponsored car right now. Hopefully he can find a sponsor for that 50 car and TJ Bell can continue through the season.
As you mentioned, though, the rocket moving up through the field is the 16 of Justin Allgaier. Again, holding on to the 7th position. Just in front of him in 6th, the 04 of Brent Sherman. Billy Venturini in the 25 being shown in 8th position. Ken Weaver is 9th in the 20. And Bobby Gerhart rounding out the top 10 in his number 5. Still spreading out just a bit.
The 65 car, Damon Lusk, got turned around there earlier. He was a real competitor for here. He was real fast in practice yesterday, and unfortunately he got turned around. Bobby Gerhart, great run for Bobby here today. He's back in 10th, but he was real excited about, coming to the short tracks and running as well.
Chuck Weber just in front of the 46 of Frank Kimmel. Now Kimmel's going to go the outside, try to make the pass on Weber. That's always a trying time. As you get to the outside of a car on a short track, you'd hate for them to slide up and take you out, especially as dominant as Frank Kimmel has been thus far in the race. 159 laps in the books. This one is 160 that Frank Kimmel has just completed. Just 40 laps to go at Toledo Speedway. Can Frank Kimmel hold on for those 40? We'll find out after this. till it's unique. Well, Castro goes to Indy to meet up with NASCAR star Tony Stewart and pick up his killer ride, a vintage hearse. Catch Unique Whips Wednesday at 10 Eastern only on Speed. One guy who's on Speed, Frank Kimmel. This guy is unbelievable at Toledo.
Well, I'll tell you, Ken Schrader is reeling him back in, Rick. He is just less than 1 second behind him as you see Schrader coming off the corner there. Schrader fell back a little bit. It may have been a ploy for him just to cool them tires down, but he's reeled them right back in.
Well, there's been relatively few cautions in this race. Normally one that has quite a few cautions. We've only got 5 so far. But I tell you what, ARCA's done a great job as we look at the Hardcore Motorsports Initiative with Wendy Venerini.
The Hardcore Motorsports ARCA Safety Initiative started this season. Now what that means is the resources available to ARCA has enabled them to buy equipment such as this truck. But more importantly is the cargo that it carries. What's found in the back of this truck is the safety equipment that saves lives. The first piece of equipment we have is a cutter. It's used to cut through roll cages, much like a hot knife through butter. The other piece of equipment we have is a spreader combination along with the cutter, and it's used to spread metal apart in order to extricate a driver. Inside this hauler is where additional safety equipment is carried for ARCA. One of them being the Speedy Dry spreader. It's great when oil's been dropped on the track. Another piece is a replica of the driver compartment. Now this is a work in progress, but it will be used for training purposes for teams for safety equipment placement, and it will also be used for the training of safety personnel. The front of this trailer is used as an office for Mark Williams, ARCA Safety Director. Now this is also the place where all the medical files are kept on drivers and crew members. With the addition of the equipment ARCA brings to the track each weekend, it's become very apparent what their main goal is, and that is the safety of the drivers.
Closing in on almost 25 laps of racing, Frank Kimmel still out in front, but we see the 99 of Ken Schrader closing the gap. He's inside of a second behind Frank Kimmel. And we heard earlier Frank Kimmel talking about he thinks he needs tires. Are we too late to stop and get tires now if the caution comes out?
Well, I tell you, as good as Schrader's car's running, I'm not sure Schrader can come in and get tires. So if Kimmel had to go to the back, we're within less 30 laps to go here. I tell you, he'd be in trouble. So he almost really needs to stay out and continue to race here. Frank was complaining the car's a little bit loose, a little too much tire stagger in the right rear of that tire, but there's really nothing he can do. He has to hang on and pedal as hard as he can, as you see Schrader just pounding down his back.
This is really uncharacteristic of Toledo Speedway. We've only had 5 cautions so far. This is a short track. Normally you see guys bumping into each other, moving them out of the way, the cautions flying all the time. We have 25 laps to go and only 5 cautions.
Well, that is. It's unbelievable to come here to Toledo on a short track with this many cars and have that many cautions. But I tell you, it's happened here today. These cars have gotten better and better. Crew chiefs have gotten better and better, and they've been able to get these cars into the racetrack. And that probably is one reason why we caution-free here today.
The fans are starting to realize a great race building up between Frank Kimmel and Ken Schrader. Wendy.
I forgot what it was like to be short track racing. I'm having a ton of fun in the infield here, watching these cars go around this half mile. Now they are beating and banging, but they're doing it in a safe enough way where they're not causing the cautions. If you need to, the guys are bumping each other out of the way. It's getting late in the race, less than 30 laps to go. It's time to hit crunch time, but of course they're doing it in a safe way where no cautions have come out yet, but definitely the beating and banging's going on from my end.
Inside of a half second between Frank Kimmel and Ken Schrader now. The gap has been closed, and it does look like Ken Schrader is running a better line or has a better handling car right now than Frank Kimmel does.
It really does. He gets to the center of the corner so much better. As you see, as we follow him down in the corner, right through the center, right down there on the bottom, he's able to put the car on the bottom and get back in the gas a little bit earlier than Frank Kimmel is, and that's what the difference is. He's reeled his spread in to a half a second now, so he's really doing a great job reeling Kimmel in. You know,
we got a spin coming out of turn 4. Dexter Bean in the number 6 gets spun around, and so that will bring out our 6th caution. Now, Dan, are we too late in this one for them to come in? 20 laps of racing to go.
Well, not at all. I tell you, though, Frank Kimmel, the car's not to his liking. We know that. I'm thinking he wants to come in for tires, but Ken Schrader breathing right down his bumper. His car is really hooked up, feeling really good. Not sure he's going to come in. So I tell you, it's going to be a roll of the dice for Frank Kimmel whether he comes in or not, because whatever he does, probably Schrader will follow.
Let's look again at Dexter Bean getting spun around here. It doesn't look like any contact was made.
Nope.
Ryan Howard was just behind him in the 59, but he wasn't right up on his bumper. Spun around, no contact with anyone.
Nope, just gets down in the corner, just gets a little loose. Looks like all by himself. Ryan Howard did not get to back up. It didn't appear that way, and he's backing away.
And so the caution comes out. We'll find out. Will Frank Kimmel or Ken Schrader come in as we're inside of 20 laps remaining in this race? Road, and Ken Schrader decides, no, I'm not coming down pit road. That could win the race right there for Ken Schrader.
Well, Rick, that's what we were just talking about. Some 20 laps from the finish, 18 laps to go. It'll probably be 16 to go. Ken Schrader, he's going to check out. Frank Kimmel's going to be back in some, 11th position. He has to really fight through traffic to catch Schrader, so I don't know. Could be, like I said, it was a roll of dice.
Don Radebaugh.
Frank Kimmel in for, believe it or not, 4 tires and a splash of gas too. They really thought the 99 car of Ken Schrader would follow the leader down pit road. For some reason, whatever reason, it didn't happen, so they're going to quickly go with 4 tires to get Frank back out. But with laps winding down, Frank's going to have to pedal really, really hard to show himself back up front again. Gentlemen.
11 cars are on the lead lap. Ken Schrader looked as though he was going to come down pit road, but he did not. Wendy, what are they talking about in his stall?
He did the fake down pit road, but Ken Schrader did not come. And if it was up to Ken, I think he would have came in and gotten 4 fresh tires. He really wanted those tires. But his crew chief, Donnie Richardson, said, I just don't think we can make it through the field with the amount of laps that are left. There's 17 laps left. Well, they saw that Kimmel came down, and it sounded like Ken Schrader went with his crew chief on this call. They stayed out. All the guys are now laughing in the pits. They just shrugged their shoulders. Of course, a win is on the line, but no points for Ken Schrader.
Well, and a couple other guys now have made the decision to come down pit road. Guys like Mario Goslin, the 29 of Brian Keselowski. And so Kimmel is actually going to move up. He won't start back in 11th like we thought he might if the other lead lap cars stayed out. He's actually going to start a little bit closer to the front, and so on fresh tires it could be very difficult for Ken Schrader to hold off Frank Kimmel.
Frank Kimmel, Dan Partis in the speed booth. You copy? Hey, buddy, little gutsy move there. I know you wish Schrader would have come with you, but you're going to have your work cut out before you make it to the front.
Behind the 5 car, Frank. All the way up behind the 5. 4 ways to go, but the car's real good. We'll just have to hopefully traffic complete. Stay good with us here. We'll see what we got, buddy.
All right, buddy. Good luck. Go to work.
He's going to restart in 6th position, right behind the 5 of Bobby Gerhart. Another great run for Bobby Gerhart. A guy who had always thought that he was so good on the big tracks is running real well right now on the short tracks.
He is, and I tell you, Justin Allgaier, Bobby Gerhart, look at Billy Venturini, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Justin Allgaier, Billy Venturini, Bobby Gerhart. These guys are right where they want to be with 20 to go. Less than 20.
15 laps of racing to go. Ken Schrader takes the green flag. Right away, Justin Allgaier to the outside makes it 3 wide. Ryan Foster, Justin Allgaier moves to 2nd and 3rd.
This is just what Ken Schrader wants to see. He wants to see these cars buckle up. So Frank Kimmel, guess what? It's a lot harder for him to get through the field. So Schrader needs to check out, just go as hard as he can these remaining 14 laps.
14 laps to go. Ken Schrader has a bullseye on the back of his car, and the 46 of Frank Kimmel is looking at it, trying to come in and close the gap. Frank Kimmel makes the pass on the 25. Billy Venturini, so he puts Billy Venturini back 1 position. Kimmel moves up into 4th. 3 cars are in front of Frank Kimmel from claiming his 10th win at Toledo Speedway.
I'll tell you, this could be a hero. This is a hero or zero call, Rick. Either you win or you lose. And I tell you, if he comes to the front, everybody's going to say, wow, that was a great move, Frank. But I'll tell you, it was a gutsy move.
Well, Frank Kimmel talked about wanting tires. Ken Schrader also talked about wanting tires. Caution comes back out again. This definitely does not help Frank Kimmel.
That's not what Frank Kimmel wanted to see, Rick. That's for sure. Wow.
Now what this will do is, once this caution has come out, we will have less than 10 laps of racing to go, meaning we'll start single file for the remaining 10 laps. So Frank Kimmel currently in 4th, trying to catch up to Ken Schrader, leading this field around Toledo. Congratulations, the final moments of the most intense race of the year. Don't miss this special 1-hour season finale of Pinks. Wednesday, May 31st, 9 Eastern, 8 Pacific only on Speed. And we have got one that I guess if you'd put pink slips up, this would be a big one right here too. Ken Schrader, Frank Kimmel, two guys who have dominated this racetrack over the past almost 12 years. Ken Schrader up in front, but Frank Kimmel has fresh tires on the number 46, currently in 4th position.
Well, he's right where he wants to be, and that's exactly what he would want it to happen. Get back, regrouped, 2 cars between him and Ken Schrader. And I don't know, guys. I'd have to pick Frank Kimmel on this one because fresh tires here at Toledo, some 3 to 5/10 of a second. It's going to be a tough race. But I tell you, Schrader's not going to make it easy.
Oh, no. And we're inside of 10 laps. If they restart next time by, we will have 8 laps of racing to go. Ken Schrader has 8 laps to hold off Frank Kimmel. Don Radebaugh.
How about the 47 car of Ryan Foster, 18 years young, first season on tour out of Lowell, Arkansas. He just graduated from Rogers High School in Lowell, Arkansas last Friday. Just a kid out there doing a man's job for sure and running second, looking at his career best finish. He was one of those cars that chose not to come down pit road, and he's on older tires, but he's running very, very well. 9th at Winchester, 9th at Salem, 6th at Winchester, 5th at Kentucky, and how about Toledo, possibly 2nd?
Pretty impressive. He's got his mentor behind him, though, but he's not going to move over for Frank Kimmel. He's going to race. He's going to race just like he wants to win this race.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, him and Justin Allgaier, both them cars, they've been so tough all day. They've been real competitive. I'm not sure Frank can just drive right around them guys like he has these other cars. So I tell you, it's going to be a tough way to get around. And these guys are not just going to move out of the way so he can catch Schrader. Even though the 47 car is a teammate of Frank Kimmel, he wants to win here also. And this is a great opportunity with just some less than 8 laps to go. He's going to stand on it. I know I would.
Most definitely. When they come to the start-finish line, there will be 7 laps of racing to go. The pace car making its way off of the track. Here comes Ken Schrader, Ryan Foster, Justin Allgaier, Frank Kimmel, and Billy Venturini, your top 5 as they go into turns 1 and 2.
Justin looking to the outside, just hoping to get some grip down the run. Look at him on the outside of Ryan Foster as they make contact down into 3. Wow.
This time by 6 laps of racing to go. Side by side for second. Allgaier and Ryan Foster going to turn number 1.
Just what Ken Schrader wants to see, just to slow Frank Kimmel down a little bit. See Frank pulls up on the back of Ryan Foster's bumper, but he has nowhere to go.
He looks as though he's going to go to the high side. No, he tucks back out, down in low. Ken Schrader running a perfect line as he goes by the start-finish line. 5 laps of racing.
Look at Billy Venturini. Started in the back of this race with a backup car. Top 5 finish today for him would be a victory for that Venturini family also.
Now Ken Schrader coming up to the slower lap traffic. This is going to hurt Frank Kimmel as well as they come out of turn 4. 4 laps of racing to go. Ken Schrader, Justin Allgaier, Ryan Foster, and now here comes Frank Kimmel on the outside of Foster.
Wow, not what Frank Kimmel wanted to see. Does not want to be on the outside crew, but again, Frank Kimmel is here to win championships too, folks, so he does look at the big picture. He's not going to tear his race car up just to win this one race here.
Kimmel has moved into 3rd. This time by 3 to go. Ken Schrader in front of Justin Allgaier and Frank Kimmel.
Frank Kimmel down on the bottom as he stands on the throttle, as looks to the bottom of Justin. He has
problems in turn 4. That's going to bring out the caution. Dexter Bean again with problems.
Wow, 2 cars touched side by side, hooked up there down at the entrance of pit row.
Looks like Mario Goslin, also the number 12, involved in this one in turn 4. Well, I tell you what a great start for Frank Kimmel to get moved up closer to Ken Schrader, as we will have a green-white checkered attempt at this race.
Frank Kimmel's prayer was answered, folks. I tell you, that's just what he wanted, to be on Ken Schrader's back bumper. He's got new rubber on that car. It's exactly what he wanted here.
He's actually behind Justin Allgaier, so Frank Kimmel still sitting in 3rd position. It's Ken Schrader, Justin Allgaier, and Frank Kimmel. They're going to be shooting this out. It's going to be 2 laps of racing. And again, the caution came out when they had 3 laps of racing to go. We look at the problems here. They ended up on the inside of turn number 4. Again, that's Dexter Bean, Mario Goslin.
That's Johnny Leonard, I believe, in that 13 car.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Looked like Mario, exactly. The cars look alike, but looked like Johnny Leonard and Dexter Bean there. Turned around off the 4, and they're back underway.
And so it will be a shootout to find out who wins in Toledo. We're going to let them clean up the track a little bit. We'll come right back for the finish of this one. Everybody on their feet in Toledo. Speed test drive. Check out the latest Lexus hybrid. Speed test drive. That'll be next after this amazing finish here at Toledo Speedway. And we've seen some great finishes on this racetrack. Just a year ago, Frank Kimmel, a nose in front of the other competitor who finished second. It was an unbelievable finish, and it looks like we're going to have another one here today, Dan.
Toledo always makes for a great finish, especially when we have a caution with a green-white checkered. I tell you, Frank Kimmel, new tires that close to it. He can smell victory lane. Ken Schrader on old tires, some 50-plus more laps on him. I think Frank Kimmel may have what it takes.
We're hearing more stories coming from the pits. Don Radebaugh, what's going on?
I'll tell you what, Frank just came over the radio and said, man, this car is pushing like a tank. Do I have a right front flat tire? And then Bill, his brother and crew chief, came back and said, no, Frank, we're in great shape. You just need to build some heat in those tires. Hard to build heat under tires under caution, but Frank says his car is pushing like a tank, even with those fresh skins. Wendy Venturini.
The 25 of Billy Venturini is in 6th right now. Now Ryan Howard in the 47 got a little out of control under those last green flag laps and got into the 25. 25 got into the wall. It bent the rim on the right front tire. They are concerned he may have a flat. The spotter is up there with binoculars looking at it. The fender is rubbing slightly, but they said they are going to roll the dice. Also a little bit more communication going on in the 25. He told the 29 of Brian Keselowski he better be aggressive on this restart because he does plan on passing the 47 of Ryan Howard before this race is over.
Whoa.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. It is going to be a shootout. In the ARCA Re Series, we don't end in caution. We will end with a checkered flag, green flag racing up to the checkered flag. And so we will see the green flag come out, then the white flag, and then the checkered. And we'll find out who will see the checkered first as they come out of turn number 4. Ken Schrader is going to be the first one to see the green flag as he comes out of 4. We're back underway. 2 laps of racing to go. It's Ken Schrader. Justin Allgaier moves to the outside. Kimmel will go right up behind the 99 of Ken Schrader. 3 cars going down the backstretch. Allgaier trying for the win. He goes to the high side too fast. He goes spun around on the backstretch. We have problems with Billy Venturini. The caution came back out again before they received the white flag. So we'll try it again.
Green-white checkered again. Wow, Ken Schrader did not like that start. Too bad Billy Venturini down on the bottom side. Had a great run going there. He'll still be up there in the top 10. He's presently scored in the 11th position, but had a good top 5 run going, unfortunate.
Now, where will they put Justin Allgaier? Allgaier is going to say, hey, I'm in second. But he moved way up the racetrack getting into turn number 3. Kimmel was able to come down underneath him. Let's see where the ARCA officials put Justin Allgaier if he is still scored in front of Ken Schrader.
So far, I didn't find it stuck. It'll take Frank 2 laps to pass you if he's side by side with you. We got that.
Let's see, in car there, Justin Allgaier. Looked like Frank just got his nose under Justin. He got up on the top side. And again, here at Toledo, the preferred groove is on the bottom of the racetrack. And, you know, with a few laps to go, you need to keep the car to the bottom.
I tell you what, Justin Allgaier, this young guy, he went right after Ken Schrader. I don't know if he realizes it's Ken Schrader. Ken Schrader, the Nextel Cup driver. You can't pass Ken Schrader on the outside, can you, Dan?
No, you can't. But I tell you, Rick, you know, and I've raced a little bit in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series when it was a Cup and Busch Series, and I've raced with these guys. And when you're in the race car, before you get in the car, you think about that. You say, wow, that's Jeff Gordon in front of me. That's Mark Martin. But when you get in the car and you're racing, all that goes out the window. All it is a sponsor. All you're looking at is the bumper with a sponsor name on it. Them guys really, they're race car drivers just like we are. They put their pants on the same way. So as a driver, that's the way you feel about it, especially when we do respect these guys. We give them a lot of respect, and that's the most important part.
Well, a lot of respect being gained by not only Ken Schrader, Justin Allgaier, Frank Kimmel, but how about Ryan Foster? What an impressive run for this young kid.
Yeah, I tell you, Ryan's had a tremendous run here today. Again, out of that Frank Kimmel stable. That's a second car for him, that 47 car, Ryan Foster, and he's done a tremendous job here today.
And we're hearing that, well, we're hearing that Billy Venturini may have had a little bit of a problem just moments ago. Wendy, what's going on with Billy?
Well, there's a lot to recap there. Brent Sherman took him out under the green flag. According to Billy, he just plain dumped him. So, under caution, Billy retaliated just a little and decided to turn Brent Sherman around. So Billy came in. He's getting 4 tires. Sounds like he did get a black flag. They don't know what the penalty is. We're waiting to see what ARCA calls on that one.
Well, we'll find out what ARCA says about it. I'm guessing that they don't think too kindly of a guy spinning another guy out under caution. See a little bit of damage to the 04 there. That's Brent Sherman in the Serta 04.
Yeah, got some left front fender damage to that car. Just got in the back of somebody, unfortunately.
Well, he also had a little bit of problem with the 25 of Billy Venerini, and so those two have a little bit of a squabble going on. Ken Schrader saying, man, can we just finish this thing? I've led enough laps. I should have this race won. Well, we'll find out if he can hold on and win in Toledo. This will be his 4th win in Toledo if he's able to hold on. Justin Allgaier, the hard-charging 19-year-old, right behind him. And then it's 7-time series champion Kimmel in 3rd. We'll be back for the finish. Max Series. This is race 6 of 23 for this series, and a great one so far. It is going to be exciting at the end of this one. We're inside of 1 lap before we get the green for green-white checkered. Ken Schrader out in front of the field. Justin Allgaier just behind him. The last time we tried for the green-white checkered, Justin Allgaier jumped to the outside, looked as though he was going to try to challenge Ken Schrader right away on the restart, and that allowed Frank Kimmel to tuck in behind Ken Schrader. But here they come. 1, 2, 3, Schrader, Allgaier, and Kimmel coming out of 4. We're back to racing.
Wow, Ken, that's the start that Ken Schrader really wanted. That first start really wasn't. He spun his tires, and look at Frank Kimmel down on the bottom of Allgaier.
Allgaier did it again. He went to the outside. He allowed Kimmel to get on the inside of him, but Allgaier able to hold his speed up as he comes out of turn 4. Let's see if he's able to do anything. He gets on the outside of Ken Schrader. They're 2 wide inside of a half a lap to go at Toledo Speedway. Side by side down the backstretch. Wow. It's Schrader and Allgaier. Kimmel right behind Ken Schrader. What will Allgaier do coming out of 4? It's Ken Schrader going to take the win in Toledo.
Wow, Allgaier just tremendous grip on the outside of that racetrack. Good job for him.
Unbelievable run. 9/100ths of a second. The difference between Ken Schrader and Justin Allgaier. What an amazing finish.
What a finish here at Toledo. Again, short track racing at its finest. Justin had such a good run there off the outside corner. Man, another foot or two, I tell you, he would have probably been in the victory lane. Not what Ken Schrader wanted to see.
Well, an unbelievable finish for Ken Schrader. What a great race. And Frank Kimmel, dominant all race long. He led 182 laps around this half-mile track. Ken Schrader, he had to lead the most important one, and that was the last one. Ken Schrader being credited with 32 laps led around Toledo Speedway. Ken Schrader claiming his 4th win at the Toledo Speedway. Very impressive as he begins his move back around. He's going to go into the victory circle here at Toledo Speedway. The crowd on their feet cheering on Ken Schrader and cheering on the fact that another great race here at Toledo. Schrader works his way to victory circle. He'll sit on there as he is getting ready to climb out of that car. We're going to head away. We'll be right back for his celebration in victory circle.
Monday, NASCAR's on speed. First 7 days, there's more to NASCAR than meets the eye.
You got to do a photo with a bunch of animals.
Then NBS 24/7, The Rookies.
Go fast, turn left, don't crash.
It all begins Monday night, 8 Eastern, on Speed.
I've wanted a treehouse my whole life.
Hey, I'm serious. I mean a real treehouse.
Find your perfect place. It's easy at RE/MAX.com. Now RE/MAX.com offers more home listings to choose from than ever before. Nobody sells more real estate than RE/MAX.
If you're looking to ramp up your ride, get ready. Advance Auto Parts has a brand new special order center just for you. Your one-of-a-kind, one-stop shop for everything you could ever want in parts and performance accessories. Everything from lift kits to cool custom accessories is ready for direct-to-your-door delivery or convenient in-store pickup. When you want the most complete selection of parts and accessories, the only place to go is the new special order center in Advance Auto Parts.
We're ready in advance.
Your picture-perfect lawn, suddenly destroyed by two types of insects. No matter. Backed by Bayer's 100-plus years of crop science expertise, Bayer Advanced created Complete Insect Killer, the only product that combines two chemistries to eliminate insects above ground, plus below ground for up to 3 months, guaranteed. Time to kick back and relax? Not if you're a damaging pest. Bayer Advanced. Better science. Better results.
Go! Welcome to Tokyo, where a new style of racing rules the underground.
I want to see what the kids got. And let's race.
On June 16th, the only way to win...
You came to the wrong place.
...is to lose control.
Hey, look, myself!
Woo! Are you crazy?
I didn't come this far to finish second.
The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, rated PG-13, starts June 16th.
And Ken Schrader climbing out of his victorious number 99 Federated Auto Parts car. And as he climbs out of there, let's take a look at our unofficial top 10 from this race. Ken Schrader taking the victory, his 4th victory at Toledo. Justin Allgaier, what an impressive performance for that 19-year-old. Coming home in second, just 9/100ths of a second behind Ken Schrader when he goes across the start-finish line. Frank Kimmel has to drop back to 3rd. It's been a long time since Frank Kimmel hasn't been up at the top of the unofficial results list. Let's go down to Wendy Venturini. She's caught up with our winner.
It makes 3 spring races at Toledo wins for Ken Schrader in a row. He's a stubborn Cup driver because he said, I'm not sitting in the car any longer. I'm getting out while we're in commercial break. Good run to you, Ken.
Man, what a lot of fun. I mean, Frank pitted, and I thought, wow, it's going to be tough. And then, you know, like 10 to go, and he's running 4th, and Justin was really good on the outside. And I thought, heck, this last lap, I'm not even going to look. I'm going to come off turn 4, pretend nobody's there, see what happens.
Now, I know you wanted to pit Donnie Richardson. No, let's stay out because he's worried about track position. Did you ever doubt him? And are you surprised that that kid, Justin Allgaier, gave you a run for your money?
Oh, I'm not surprised about Justin. I've known Justin since he was born, and he just comes from good stock, good family, and the kid can drive the heck out of a race car, and he's doing a phenomenal job.
All right, we're going to let Ken Schrader get his rest. Of course, he raced the Nextel Open, and he's going to head back to Charlotte. Don?
Thanks, Wendy. Ken Schrader's not exactly the most sentimental guy, but he came up to this guy, Justin Allgaier, and gave him a big squeeze for your career best finish, tying your career best. How do you feel, Justin?
Oh, this is great. You know, Kenny's helped me out since I was little, and to run second to that guy it's pretty awesome. And, you know, this weekend's been great. We got a new sponsor on the car, Century Trading, and Hoostar Midwest, the Air Force, the Trash Man. You know, it's funny, we got one of the only Pontiacs here, and this is great. You know, we come out here and run second. Crew Chief Larry Moore did a great job, and the pit stops were awesome.
How about the second groove? You were one of the few drivers out there that was working in that second groove. Did you have the car specifically set up to go there?
I didn't actually have it set up to go there, but, you know, as the race started, I started passing some cars on the outside. Seemed like it worked really well, so I kind of saved it a little bit towards the end. Didn't really want to make too much of a big deal out of it, and at the end there, it seemed like, you know, maybe we could have had a run, but, you know, Kenny drove me clean, and that's all I can ask for. I mean, we finished second. You know, coming out here is great.
Didn't make a very big deal out of it. I thought he made a real big deal today. Justin Allgaier, second to Ken Schrader, in front of a 7-time ARCA Series champion. Pretty good day for Allgaier.
Hi, Grandpa, from Justin Allgaier. Well, we take a look at the unofficial results. Again, Ken Schrader coming home with his 4th win here at Toledo. That makes his 13 career wins in the ARCA Re-Max Series. Justin Allgaier tying his career best of 2nd. That came here earlier.
Yep, second here at Toledo. Frank Kimmel, you know, not where he wanted to be, obviously, but again, he's in the big picture to run for points. Bill Venturini dropping back to 11th place on that last race mishap.
Well, a little bit of frustration there for Billy Venturini. Quite a few cars a lap down. That meant that Ken Schrader and Frank Kimmel had to work their way through a lot of lap cars in this race. See the end of the field there. Again, 35 cars started this one, and man, what an exciting finish. We always see great finishes here in the short track racing. Speed's coverage of the ARCA Remax Series from Toledo is presented by Remax. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. And brought to you in part by SK Tools, the official hand tools of ARCA. Let's go back down to trackside with Wendy Benarini.
Point save for Frank Kimmel. That's exactly the kind of finishes you need. Frank, the fresh tires that thought you were going to do it, not enough green flag laps though, huh?
No, we stole one last couple weeks ago at Winchester with a lot of yellows there at the end, but today they cost me. Just couldn't get up through there, but what a great car this Ford Fusion was, and man, I think we led 160 some odd laps or something. Just had a great car and great fun racing with those guys, but they just kept running side by side, and you can't go anywhere when they do that. But had a great points day, like you said. We'll take a, hey, I got to remember, we did this third place finish set on the pole for a good friend of ours, Karen Boyer's husband, Cliff, passed away last week unexpectedly. So our hearts and prayers goes out to their family. And but tried to get a win, but we got a third.
All right, spoken like a true champ. Frank Kimmel comes home third. Don?
Career best finish for Brian Keselowski. Let's see a Schrader and a Kimmel in front of you. Not a bad day.
No, not a bad day at all. That first set of tires was great. Man, I caught Kimmel, and I'm like, oh, here we go. You know, this is what I'm looking for. And we stopped and put the second set of tires. It just didn't agree as much with the car, and we just knew we had to put tires on about 20 to go, and that's our only shot at it. And, you know, we gained some positions. It's my best finish. I'm ecstatic. I really am. Outside pole for the qualifying. You know, we couldn't really ask for much better of a day. It's really the first race of the season. We wrecked real early at Salem, and, you know, it's just absolutely wonderful.
Best qualifying effort and best finish for Brian Keselowski.
Great job for that young man. Bill Kimmel, the SK crew chief of the race, award going to him. Frank Kimmel starting first, finishing third, so just 2 positions changed there for Frank Kimmel, and that gives Bill Kimmel the SK crew chief of the race award. It was Frank Kimmel starting this one on the pole. It was his second pole at Toledo. The first time he got the pole was when he set the track record. Spins were often, or not actually as often as we thought they were going to be. Only 8 cautions flew in Toledo. On Toledo Speedway, normally on a short track, we would see a lot more spins, but Dan, we saw a great race today.
Now, again, these guys did a great job. These cars were hooked up. It was just a tremendous race here at Toledo. Always a great finish when we come to Toledo.
An amazing finish, and it became pit strategy. Ken Schrader decided he'd stay out when Frank Kimmel came in, and it paid off. Ken Schrader comes home your winner in Toledo. This is the 4th win for Ken Schrader at Toledo.